It's been 8 years since we last saw Max Payne. Since then, he's retired from the NYPD and looking to escape the memories of his troubled past. Trading the shadowy streets of New York for the sunshine of Sao Paulo, Brazil, Max takes a private security job protecting a wealthy businessman and his family. Trouble has a tendency to find Max, and with his addiction to booze and painkillers, it doesn't shape up to be the enjoyable retirement he envisioned. Welcome to Leisure Gamer. We review games after an hour of playing to see if they're worth fitting into your busy, working professional life. His client's trophy wife, Fabiana, is kidnapped under Max's watch, and like most things he comes into contact with, events go from bad to worse the more he becomes involved. The film noir look of the game has been abandoned, but the dark and gritty origins are still very much alive. Max is as cynical as ever in his usual poetic way, as the story delves into familiar issues of politics, trust, and corruption. James McCaffrey reprises his role as Max Payne and does a great job delivering lines with hard-boiled prose.
The family we were protecting were local celebrities, rich parasites with delusions of humanity. The kind of people who end up in glossy magazines or body bags.
Violence is a large part of Max's identity, and at times the game is borderline disturbing in its showcase of that theme. But it does so without feeling sensational. More than anyone, Max has a visceral understanding of the consequences of brutality because he's felt it firsthand. The iconic bullet time is back and running off an advanced physics system where enemies and Max interact with the environment and respond to damage more appropriately. Max can now more realistically jump over obstacles or stop if he slams into an object while performing a shoot dodge. The game controls extremely well and adds some new features. Max can remain prone and fire in 360 degrees after a shoot dodge. Destructible cover has been added, and enemies are more tenacious with their flanking, which adds to the motivation to keep moving. Max's inventory has been reduced to 2 small guns and 1 larger rifle or shotgun. Max is able to dual wield any combination of small weapons, but doing so will drop the larger weapon in his offhand. This adds a realistic feel to how Max carries and reloads his weapons, with larger weapons feeling more cumbersome when trying to equip. Competitive multiplayer makes its debut, and yes, it even features bullet time. Like in the single-player game, bullet time is regenerated by killing enemies, and when activated in multiplayer, it only affects the players in the field of view of the person using it. Multiplayer matches include the traditional modes like free-for-all and team deathmatch, but also the unique gang wars and painkiller. In Painkiller, one person takes on the role of Max Payne, while the other players work together to kill him. If you land the killing blow, you assume the identity of Max, while the other players turn their attention to killing you. If 6 vs 1 doesn't sound fair, you do spawn with powerful weapons, extra bullet time, and enough painkillers to help fend off the others. A single overall session of Gang Wars features story-based scenarios within a string of 5 micro matches. Each of these matches has a different objective which evolve depending on the outcome of the previous match.
The raid had gone seriously wrong. Ufei had not been prepared. They'd expected resistance, but nothing like this.
The first Max Payne was known for being brutally unforgiving in terms of difficulty. Max Payne 3 can certainly be a challenge, but the player can customize their experience to a large extent. There are 5 difficulties in total, with only 3 available at the start. The game grants additional painkillers and bullet time rewards after failing checkpoints multiple times. This is key because Max Payne 3 features a non-regenerative health system, and during the more difficult areas, more painkillers will be needed to push your way through. The rate at which you acquire freebie painkillers at checkpoints is diminished at higher difficulties. There is now a chance at survival if you take a fatal shot. When you're carrying at least 1 painkiller, bullet time will automatically be triggered and the reticle will drift toward the enemy who shot you. If you manage to kill them, you'll survive and regain a small amount of health. This isn't the most effective use of painkillers, but it prevents constantly reloading saves like in previous games. Unlike before, automatic checkpoints are now the only way to save progress. Another selective choice in difficulty is choosing how much the game assists in targeting. The system will help lock onto enemies easily, or you can opt for zero help by selecting free aim, the true Max Payne experience. It's safe to say that Max Payne 3 is a challenging game, and earns the rating of high for difficulty. Expect to replay checkpoints multiple times before making it through it live. The story is told using the same graphic novel feel, where Max narrates the current action, but also shares his internal commentary.
He was sending them around to cut me off from the other side. And sure enough, a few seconds later, I had some company on the dance floor.
The comic panel presentation has been replaced with panels that are dynamically generated during cutscenes. The game moves seamlessly from cutscene to gameplay without loading screens, which truly does keep you immersed in the story. New players shouldn't worry about missing out on plot details, as the game clearly illustrates the tragedies Max carries with him. Since he's in a completely new setting, it's almost like starting a brand new series for all players involved. After finishing each chapter, an arcade mode is unlocked, where players can replay areas, earning points for stylish kills, while receiving damage or using painkillers subtracts points. Arcade mode is a great way to get in some Max Payne fun in a very limited amount of time. Multiplayer varies in length. A single deathmatch clocks in under 10 minutes, while the more immersive Gang Wars demands upwards to double or triple the time commitment. Max Payne 3 earns the rating of evening for time commitment. Due to the automation of checkpoint saving, it's easy to find a stopping point, but expect to put in a sensible amount of time since the game leads you from story to gameplay so gracefully you won't want to quit anytime soon. The game looks absolutely fantastic, and the attention to detail is exceptional. Each individual bullet is rendered, shells eject from weapons, cover is destructible, and enemies in Max take realistic damage. It's truly a treat for your eyes. The sound design is also equally impressive, as weapons feel immensely powerful, and the music sets the tone for the dark atmosphere. During cutscenes, frequent digital apparitions flicker across the screen to show Max's disconnection with his surroundings, especially when he's drinking or popping pills. While this added a modern and artistic aesthetic, it felt overused at certain points. The multiplayer was surprisingly well implemented, but the main reason to check out the game is for the single-player experience. After an hour, the game looks to be another dark and twisted story for one of video games' most troubled protagonists. Max Payne 3 absolutely made me want to continue playing. Using shoot dodge and bullet time were as comfortable as riding a bike, and with the addition of cover and staying prone after dodging, there are many more stylish ways to handle shootouts, and I can't wait to perfect them all.
I knew this was going to be a bad idea, but in the continued absence of any good ones, I decided to go with it.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your own thoughts on the game. Till next time, enjoy gaming.
What a view. I guess my time in Sao Paulo wasn't quite the paid holiday in the sun I'd been promised.